Okay, I'm interviewing Ryan Caviles, Director of Strength and Conditioning for Basketball and Volleyball. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. I first want to talk about what was your motivation and interest in strength and conditioning.
It really started, growing up playing sports. Um, I played a little bit of football, a little bit of basketball, little bit of everything, I think, growing up. But, when I got to college, my main interest was in athletic training. And so when I went to school at UNLV, got into their program. They have a 2-year program there. Finally got into that. But later on towards the end, they gave me plenty of experience in athletic training. They just really put me on the field, um, allowed me to cover student athletes, certain events, um, in season, off season. So, during that time, I was starting to gain interest in strength and conditioning. And so by the end of that, I was more hooked on the strength training than I was with athletic training. And so I kind of transitioned into that. So as soon as I finished school, I actually did some personal training myself. Got an internship with the Portland Trail Blazers
Wow.
during a lockout year, so I got a little bit of training that way before I got there. So I didn't get to Portland until January of 1999, and so that really started my career. After I was done with that, that was just a 1-year deal. They extended that for a little bit, but they had an opening back at UNLV when their strength coach left, and I had the opportunity right away to kind of slip into there.
Wow.
There was familiarity that I knew the head strength coach at UNLV, and then I'd worked with all the others before that, so it was an easy transition. So I did a year there, and then um, went back to Portland. So
You went back to Portland after you went to.
yes, went back to Portland. I did work with WNBA,
Uh,
and then kind of helped out with the NBA team there. I got the head strength and conditioning job at University of Portland, and I was there for 6 years, and I came here to Syracuse in 2007.
wow.
So, yeah, pretty big interest.
Yeah.
It just transitioned into that, and so it just kept growing from there. Just having an internship with Portland really helped me out a ton.
So from what I'm hearing, you, I mean, you need both, but I think you value experience more so than education with strength and conditioning. Is that correct?
Yeah, I got the base um, from UNLV, and then going back to UNLV, just using all my resources there. And um, I still to this day refer to some of the books that I had from UNLV. Although, granted, it was 15, 20 years ago, but there are some that still last and that I use to this day, just a reference from. But now, I think being both in athletic training and strength and conditioning, I communicate very well with our athletic training staff.
Okay.
Where there's struggle between strength coaches and trainers. There is not that here, which is great, an advantage for both sides. So I understand their language, they understand mine, and we go from there. So having my experience in that, and then going through experiences, because you got to go out and do it.
Right.
Oftentimes my mentor would throw me into the fire and say, "All right, you get them going, disappear," and I have no one to refer to, and that's just what I did. Fight or flight. So I fought, and
Absolutely.
I got better for it. So, and he knew what he was doing. I think he felt I was ready at certain times, to do certain things and take big groups and help them get better.
Um, so you moved from collegiate to professional back to collegiate.
Mhm.
Is there any specific reason why, or do you just have a more of an interest in collegiate sports?
This is fun because it's always rotating with the pros. There's different. It's just different in a sense that now you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with agents. The players themselves are getting paid a lot of money, and that's their livelihood at that point. And so it is truly a business. Um, and it was a lot of fun because you have a lot of great NBA players, a lot of high level athletes just getting after it night after night after night. Really, we're grinding out here at the college level. You're going from early morning workouts, if that's what we have you do, early morning workouts, to practices, to the academics, to tutoring, back to games, and it never ends. So it's a different beast in that way. I like this setting because it's always rotating. Um, you can mentor our student athletes, everybody's from different backgrounds, and the level of mentorship could be in different ways.
Right.
And so this is a good spot. Having experience in the NBA and the WNBA and working with the teams that I have here, I feel like it kind of give them, educate them as much as I can. Give them an edge. Still be involved with the NBA. Gives our guys an edge
Mm-hmm.
in that way. I feel whether they feel it or not when they're in it,
Right.
because every team is different. But at least preparing them for a certain point, really helps a lot. And everything for life after. If you've seen around, you see a lot of our student athletes come back.
Absolutely.
And the reasons because we keep everything intact here. All the staffs are the same, been the same for the last 10 years, and so
Right. Familiar faces.
yeah, exactly.
So what would be the hardest part of your job, do you think?
The balance
Balance of everything.
Work-life balance. They write many blogs and articles about it, but it is. I had my wife and I been married for quite some time, and our kids were born here, so we went in transition, not having kids, and then balancing that, and then the amount of hours that you put in to this. Some years are different than others. It really depends on the needs of the team, and the different coaches we have. We're fortunate to have the same coaches around, so in that sense, the communication is good. But just having that balance, and in the end, it always works out. So at the end of the year, when it's all said and done, you go through off season, in season, post season, back to off season again. It finds itself working out, but you really put forth the effort on both sides and really try to make sure everything gets done.
You mentioned earlier that your job, everything kind of rotates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just commented on balance.
Yeah.
So what's a typical day like, if there is one?
There is. I guess there is a typical day. We'll start now. During the off season in the summer, we have always our 6 a.m. workouts, and sometimes really they can begin at 5:45, 5:50, depends on if all the athletes are here or not. So
Right.
we'll do that. I'll leave between 7:30, come back at 9. 7:30, take care of the kids, get them ready, help my wife so she can go to work, get the kids ready, come back by 9 o'clock. We have workouts again, individual groups. Some individuals, some are in small groups. 9 to 10, 10 to 11-ish. It really depends. Sometimes our student athletes are on the court. They have a little bit more time to recover, and so I allow for that. I get a little break in between, and then starting at 1 o'clock, it starts again up until maybe 5:30, no later than 6. So you look at it as a 12-hour day, but it's really not. If you get your little breaks here and there, it works out really well. So it's a lot of planning involved with that. So always changing, but it's good. In season, a lot more manageable in season because you know what time your practices are. You know when the games are going to be.
Everything's pretty much set.
Yeah, for the most part, and then you're traveling. So they're long days, but they're enjoyable. If the effort is there by everybody, including myself, and you look back on the day, it's a great day. So we have a lot of great days here.
Okay. For anyone interested in strength and conditioning, moving on in the future, what would you say is the biggest thing or the most helpful thing?
What helped me the most was just getting out there and meeting people and networking. When I first started this, my goal, my mentor said, your goal is to meet so many people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Clippers are coming to town. You need to meet 2 people. Oh, snap.
Wow. Wow.
And I did, and the funny thing is that how things circle its way back, and they do. In the case of this job, I met Mike Hopkins 8 years before I got this job.
Wow.
One meeting, and so, but with a little help from people that knew Mike, helped me get the job here. And so again, all it takes is one meeting, but you also have to make sure you keep up with the relationships.
Right.
I was very lucky because I didn't really see Hop or anything like that, but you're gonna meet someone, either an email or a phone call or a message or even writing a letter. I still believe in writing letters to this day. I don't do them as often as I did, but I think that's something that's a lost art.
Right.
And that's personal. when it gets to that level. So when you meet as many people as you can, you're not going to be able to, or it'd be very difficult to keep up with those relationships. But when you do it, it's awesome. Those are all resources.
Right.
Those are all either strength and conditioning resources, basketball resources, or just everyday life things. We're listening to their experiences and how it could help me and how it could help my teams. So it's all a big circle. It's a good deal.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.